Hey everyone, welcome back for another deep dive.
Glad to be here.
Today we're looking at something that's been making the rounds politically.
Yeah, it's about Senator Elizabeth Warren and her, let's say, evolving comments on President Biden's mental sharpness.
Exactly. It's interesting because, she was pretty firmly on record before saying he was sharp.
Absolutely. Very strong support in the past. So it kind of sets up this question of, well, what's changed?
Right. And this whole thing resurfaced recently because of her appearance on a podcast, Talk Easy with Sam Fragoso.
He asked her about it directly.
Yeah, he asked if she regretted saying Biden had a cierta agudeza, which means a certain sharpness.
Right.
Before he dropped out of the 2024 race.
And her first answer was, "Dije lo que creía que era verdad." So, I said what I believed to be true.
Which is interesting phrasing. It acknowledges what she said, but doesn't, double down on it now.
Precisely. It's not quite a simple yes.
But Fragoso didn't leave it there, did he? He pushed a bit harder.
He did. He asked, "Do you think he was as astute as you?"
Ooh. And apparently, there was a bit of a pause from Warren. Maybe even a slight reaction.
Yeah, the report mentioned a pause, maybe some amusement. Then she eventually answered.
What did she say then?
She said, "Dije que no había visto declive, y hasta ese momento no lo había visto."
Okay, so I said I hadn't seen a decline, and until that moment, I hadn't seen it.
Exactly. And reports mentioned she sort of turned her head, gave him a look. The nonverbals seem important there.
Definitely suggests there's more to it than just the words.
For sure. And Fragoso called that out, didn't he?
Yeah, he made the point that just saying someone can, stand up and string sentences together isn't exactly high praise for a leader.
It's not, no. It does imply a shift, maybe a lowering of the bar from her earlier comments.
Let's talk about those earlier comments. She was on a podcast with Hassan Minhaj before all this, right?
Yes, and back then her assessment was much more, robust.
How so?
She called Biden perspicacious, emphasized he understood the issues, was effective, really painted a picture of someone fully capable.
So, quite different from just able to stand up.
Worlds apart, really. Back then, she said he knows what he's talking about and gets the job done. She did acknowledge, though, that questions about age are fair.
Okay, so that was then. Fast forward to after the presidential debate last year. Her tone seemed different again.
It did seem to shift. She was on MSNBC, and while she still called Biden our candidate,
there was a but.
Well, she added that he had a big decision to make about staying in the race.
It's quite a statement. Very different from her earlier confidence.
It is. And the timing, you can't ignore it.
Because the very next day.
The very next day, President Biden announced he was withdrawing from the race.
Wow. Okay, so her public comments seemed to track alongside maybe some wider concerns?
It seems possible. There's mention of a new book suggesting that, behind the scenes, some Democrats were worried about potential decline, even while projecting confidence publicly.
So, wrapping this up, we see this clear evolution in Warren's public statements on Biden's acuity.
Yeah, from quite strong endorsements early on to more measured, maybe even slightly evasive answers later, and then that comment just before he withdrew.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? About how public figures, especially politicians, handle these really delicate questions about a leader's fitness or capabilities.
Balancing loyalty, public perception, maybe their own private observations. It's a tightrope walk.
So what's the final thought for people listening? What should they take away?
I think it really highlights how much we have to read between the lines sometimes in politics. How do we interpret these subtle shifts in language, the pauses, the careful phrasing?
Yeah, and how much weight do those subtle signals actually carry?
Exactly. And how do these changing perceptions, especially from influential figures, shape the broader political narrative around leadership and capability? It's definitely a fascinating look at political communication.
Something to keep an eye on, for sure. Thanks for breaking that down.
My pleasure.